The time has come for me to begin to unveil the deep secrets of Apostle Peter, the rock with 7 eyes. Upon one stone shall be 7 eyes. I will engrave the graving thereof, and the iniquity of that land will be removed in 1 day. This is most likely the day of the Lord, which could last up to 1,000 years. In the pagan story of creation, the God who makes the world in 7 days is the 7-headed serpent. When Moses wrote the book of Genesis, he changed this to simply being God, and that the symbolism of the serpent was leading them into idolatry and potentially opening an occult doorway for dragon spirits. The esoteric meaning of Adam and Eve becoming gods is that God was the serpent, and they were tempted by this God to become gods themselves. Some say the serpent or enchanter was telling the truth: you will not die but live. But since a day for God is 1,000 years, Adam did indeed perish in the day he ate, as he did not live to be more than 1,000, that if one believes the long lifespans were even accurate. Adam and Eve were not the first humans, that is clear in numerous ways. Mankind was made on day 6, while Adam and Eve come after day 7. When Cain kills Abel, he is worried people will murder him and finds a wife from the land of Nod. So for anyone to believe Adam and Eve were the first humans is false doctrine, and the priests who teach it should be ashamed of themselves. In the book of Acts, Apostle Peter speaks to Sophia and Ananias, who are symbolic of Adam and Eve. If you read Acts 2:44 and 45, the original churches were residential communities where everything was shared in common. They put human beings above the materialism and greed of a world controlled by money. This original church was an attempt to recreate the so-called paradise of Eden. In the Revelation, the water is people, multitudes, nations, and tongues. In the book of Enoch, Leviathan was female. Peter caught 153 fish, which is gematria for the Magdalenes and Mary Magdalene, who was Eve. I had formerly thought Peter was Eve, as Eve is Venus and the female Lucifer, and the gematria for 1776 includes the creation of light. Apostle Peter, Lord of the Sabbath. Therefore Peter is a light-bearer. Moreover, Peter caught the 153 fish in John 21, and in Revelation 21 we have the New Jerusalem, the Golden City, and then we have Agenda 21. It comes from Catholicism, which is the kingdom of the false Peter was actually Paul of Tarsus, who appointed Linus as the Pope. Or Simon Magus. When mankind was created, they were called Adam. Eve was taken out of Adam. Thus Eve rises from the water of the people, multitudes, nations, and tongues, while Adam was created from the earth, hinting at the beast who comes from the earth, and Christ was thought to be the second Adam, or the reincarnation of Adam. Again we have the 7-headed dragon who creates the world in 7 days, so we find the revelation in the book of Genesis. 2 beasts and a dragon, along with a story that deceives the whole world. When Sophia and Ananias sold the church for their own profit, Peter said they have lied to God, and it is reported the Holy Spirit struck them dead. This may actually be a cover-up, as Peter was a Sicarii assassin. It may really be that Peter decided to murder them and cover his tracks, in the same way Moses chose to murder an Egyptian slave master. This person will commit murder when he feels it is justified. Yes, I said person. The more one studies the characters of Enoch, Job, Daniel, Moses, Peter, and Noah, the more it becomes certain they are one and the same person. Each of them is linked to the number 7 and the mystery of 7, or Shiva the Destroyer, since the name Shiva means 7. Noah's Ark was based on the Ark of Gilgamesh, which was a giant wooden cube. Obviously this is not a literal boat we were talking about. It is interesting note in most mythologies creation begins with the flood. This leads me to believe the flood of Noah comes at the end of days, out of dragon's mouth, as illustrated in Revelation 12. The woman clothed with the sun is the mother of the zodiac and represents the world that is to come. In Revelation 8 every island disappears and the mountains are not found. This leads me to wonder if the entire earth is being submerged underwater. The book of Revelation is partly based on the 22 archetypes of the major arcana. This it is not necessarily meant to be taken in order. I would suggest that Revelation 12 is midnight, while Revelation 13 begins in the past. Many people say that the hexagram or Star of David is 666, but that is not true. It is 777. They are not counting the hidden 7 which represents the Sabbath. 666 is that which falls short of 777 and does not enter the Sabbath or rest of God. The 1,000 years in which is his rest and the 1,000-year reign of the Messiah. The hexagram or Star of David is Metatron's cube. Metatron is the angel that Enoch became when he was taken up in rabbinic lore. There is dispute as to who owns this cube. It has been called Saturn's cube, and the Kaaba has a yoni. This is connected with the female vagina, the queen of heaven, and the center of the Milky Way galaxy, the celestial sacred cow. The Muslims orbit the Kaaba the same way stars orbit the black hole at the center of the galaxy. Everything in the solar system is darkness that orbits the light of the sun, while the light of the stars orbit the darkness of the black hole that holds everything together. It is the mystery of nature that darkness orbits light and light orbits darkness. As above so below. The common citizens orbit the celebrities and Illuminati, who in turn worship the god of darkness who is Satan and the devil. Why do these so-called enlightened ones sacrifice children to Moloch and worship evil? Why do we regard them? Things need to change, even if it means the stars will fall, and heaven will be rolled up like a scroll. And 14 have you commanded the morning so that dawn consumes the earth and shakes the wicked out of it. Yes, I suspect Job does indeed cause the rapture, for he is one of the 7 eyes of Peter who is the rock. Satan desires to have Peter more than anything else. Christ is the spirit of prophecy who always knows the future. When Christ prayed for Peter, it indicates one is lost while the other is saved. There are 3 epistles of John because there were 3 Johns: Baptist, Patmos, and the Apostle. There are 2 epistles of Peter because there are 2 Peter: Simon Zealot and Simon Bar-Jonah. Christ is also the Son that goes into the 12 houses or apostles, therefore each of the apostles is a form of Christ in their own way. For example, Christ is called the Rock, Peter is also called the Rock. Christ is called Lucifer, but my findings indicate a pause that Peter is also Lucifer. This would make sense, since Lucifer was called the Shining One who was perfect in all his ways. Enoch was considered perfect. Noah was considered perfect. Moses was the forefather of Judaism and the lawgiver. Daniel was considered the wisest man in Babylon who decodes the mystery of God with the little book. The 7 thunders in Revelation 10. Likewise Job was considered the most perfect man to be found. Why does Satan really want Peter, and why did Satan go so far to destroy the life of Job? Job says, "What I greatly fear has come upon me." This indicates Job was afraid of something happening to him before Satan even got started. I don't think Job 1 is giving us the full story about this. Job indicates that he is the man-child, the whole was going to rule the world and then was taken up to God's throne. Remember that Enoch was taken up when God was pleased with him. The mysteries of Peter are very deep. When he saw the transfiguration of Christ with Moses and Elijah, he made 3 tabernacles not knowing he was doing. This seems to allude to the age of the Creator Abraham, Krishna the Preserver, and Shiva the Destroyer. The zodiac seems to repeat the repetition of these 3 types of ages throughout its 12 ages. In Revelation 21, the angel doing the measurement amounts to 134. 153 FSH-144 is 9, and in Revelation 9 the locusts sting for 5 months, which is about 153 days. The flood of Noah is said to last 40 days, and also 150 days. It's not a matter of which is it, but rather 2 manifestations that are esoteric codes. 40 is symbolic of the great number of things. It is the completion of the Kabbalistic lightning flash of creation in the 4 worlds of the 10 Sephiroth. Of course the 150 refers to Peter the rock with 7 eyes and the day of the Lord. When Noah builds the ark, you know the flood is just around the corner. If there is even one righteous person left on earth, God will not destroy it, But if a supernatural rapture-rupture event is possible, such as the dividing of time or CERN quantum Mandela effect, then we will have the conditions of the flood, where it is said everyone in the world was entirely evil all the time. The good people all wound up in the ark. They are the zodiac animals who board the ark, and the elite have made laws that turn us into animals. For instance, on applications you list kids, not children. A kid is a baby goat. You are called male or female, not man or woman, because animals are male and female. So according to the law we are animals and the elite are gods, or humans. They are the Jews and we are the Goyim. But this will backfire on them, because humans do not enter the ark. Hu is the lost name of God. Hu is a form of Amara and is the sacrificed God. Humans will ultimately be sacrificed at the end of days. At the same time we have the bottomless pit opening up and the beast going into perdition as well. It hates the harlot of Babylon and will burn her with fire and devour her flesh. The destroyer is released to destroy everything, and the day of the Lord is darkness, not light, such that no one should desire it. The Bible tells us we are wrong to seek it, yet the end must come at the time appointed. The restrainer Bible code is connected with Pharaoh and the seven thunders. Mary is a symbol of the Pharaoh's authority. It may refer to the first and final prophecy about the seed of the serpent and the woman. The Pharaoh of Ezekiel 32 and the sword of the king of Babylon will come upon him. May 26th is the Egyptian holiday receiving of Amara and my birthday, and I was even born at 5:27 am. I am the one who reveals the deep secrets of Peter, who is the rock who crushes the golden image of King Nebuchadnezzar, the feet of iron and clay. Possibly the serpent who bites the heel, and the Leviathan is the head of the dragon that is destroyed in the process, leaving Jonah, the Messiah, to rise up from the sea, and then Nineveh or the 9 primary numbers repent, and the prophesied disasters are averted. Remember that the days must be cut short, or no flesh at all can be saved. No one would survive the day of the Lord and the creation of new heavens and a new earth. Once again the New Jerusalem refers to the city of Mecca, and the glory of the nations shall enter into it. Not yet, as Mecca does not yet honor the 12 apostles amidst its walls. The people do not seek the truth-telling religion, instead they are content to practice meaningless rituals that are steeped in paganism and witchcraft. I am a big proponent of esoteric atheism, and that we shall get rid of religion, but reflect on the mysteries it tries to explain. Enoch seems also to be Thoth, the scribe of the gods, who is Hermes Trismegistus to the Greeks. Moses is likewise a great scribe. Job said in his youth, when the mystery of God was upon his tabernacle. Daniel eats the little book and reveals the mysteries of God. In Ezekiel 14 it is said many times, Noah, Daniel and Job were in it, but save only themselves. What are these 3 men in together, as they do not share the same time zone? They are incarnations of the same person. I am not completely sure about the synthia of Peter, but I suspect it is Jonah and the whale. Esdras 13:26. This is he whom God the highest has reserved for many generations, who by his own self will deliver up his creature the Leviathan. This is the man who rises up from the sea to challenge the eagle, and the mere rushing in of him and his decoding of esoteric mysteries causing the whole world to make war against him. A blast of fire comes out of his mouth and destroys them. This is the lake of fire, or ring of fire. When the Son of Man is revealed, then shall they deliver you up and kill you. It could refer to Lemuria. The motto of Lemuria is man the only life, all of nature's lives are an illusion. Only man is life, and life is everlasting. This Messiah who rises up from the sea does not have wealth or military power. Therefore he must have spiritual power. Perhaps he has the power to split reality and cause the rapture. To Thoth is attributed 5 extra days. Was there a time when Earth's rotation was a perfect 360 days, like a 360-degree circle? It would mean 40 days that are 9 days each, instead of 52 weeks, which are 7 days each. Note that 5 plus 2 equals 7 heads, and 5x2 is 10 crowns. The sun god Sol Invitus is born December 25th, which is again the 2 and the 5. The evil of Lucifer is that of the Catholic Church and the people who are behind Agenda 21. Lucifer makes the world into a desolate wilderness devoid of cities. It is the abomination that causes desolation in the age where depopulation is thought to be something holy. These are the days Christ spoke of when the women say, "Blessed are the womb that did not give birth or the breasts that do not milk." My original channel Emerald Emissary had 4,000 subscribers, and that is when I learned about the Egyptian prophet who took 4,000 followers into the wilderness and tried to tear down the gates of Jerusalem. I also had a relationship with a Mary, and my life is full of these esoteric mysteries. I grew up in the house with my father Bill and stepfather Paul. The house of Peter, Paul, and Judas. My father killed himself while Paul lived to be old. It links me to Peter, and my father was heavily into witchcraft, though he had supposedly turned Christian when I knew him. My father also had a recurring nightmare about a beast chained to a dead glowing child, and we learn in Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper secrets Judas held a knife to the child of Jesus and Mary, or possibly one of the Peters and Mary. It makes a compelling case that my father was actually Judas and I was Peter. Peter is Odo in Final Fantasy IV and Kakashi in Naruto. He is the hidden assassin who never takes his mask off. Amen, or the hidden one, quite possibly. As I was born on May 26, the seeing of Amen, and Daniel 5:26, God has numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Get it, has numbered everything. The word God itself comes out to 26 in the English language of 26 letters. Indeed, 26 is the number that unlocks everything, and I am the one to reveal these things. The Amen is the beginning of creation and the end of every prayer. I have spoken with my guardian angel, who is Jophiel, who is called the angel who wielded the flaming sword and kicked Adam and Eve out of the garden. Jophiel, or God's spy. It is linked with Peter due to Sapphira's and Ananias, who in all likelihood he murdered. Simon Bar-Jonah was the original Robin Hood, a commoner who put together an army to drive back the Romans, but the Jewish elite rejected him. Then he went to war with Jerusalem, stealing from the rich to provide for his army. Meanwhile, the Egyptian prophet is the original King Arthur, who pulls the sword from the stone. Moses was really Ramos, the Prince of Thieves, and Robin Hood is called the Prince of Thieves. As for being the two witnesses, the gift-giving is definitely Christmas. Moses and Elijah were transfigured with Christ, so Christmas is just about the end of them and the Torah laws. But the Torah laws are actually the Code of Hammurabi and have nothing to do with Moses. The beast is the God of the Bible and Jesus Christ. In the Old Testament, God has Moses killed and he is not allowed to enter the Promised Land, but to see it from far off. In the New Testament, Jesus Christ has his rival John the Baptist beheaded through his disciple Salome. When they rise after 3.5 days in Revelation 11:11, everyone is full of fear. The 11:11 mysteries and 72 the master code of the ancients. And they ascend to heaven like the man-child in Enoch. In Torah Code Creation website I found it calls Moses the double of God. Moses who said to lift up the serpent. Elijah is like unto the pole. John the Baptist, the one who restores all things and must reconcile the fathers with the sons lest the world be struck with a curse. It is his power to cut the days short. There is a dark version of Elijah or John. Trapper John in MASH, or the Trap of John. In that he restores all things, the Jews interpret to mean to their original conditions at the beginning of the world at the time of Lemuria. It is suggested we all began as black and Asian and turned white because of our diets. Therefore there is a Jewish agenda to eliminate the white race. Agendas 21, depopulation, racism, Catholics, Jesuits, rich bankers. I do not approve of these things. This is the evil Lucifer. If I am actually Peter the good Lucifer, it has nothing to do with me. I am opposed to it. Christ is the Son in the Apostles. He is also within Judas or Jews, the age of the Jews, when they control what the Son God says and doesn't hold the money from every tithe in church and everyone who supports Israel in America. In the Talmud it is said the Jewish race will become its own Messiah. They are collectively the Antichrist and son of perdition, and the perfect example of it. Judas, or rather Judah, is not one person, as each apostle represents an entire age in addition to themselves. No one knows the day or the hour, but the month and the year can be known. The day is the day of the Lord, and the hour is the last hour in which Jesus hangs on the cross, as Hebrews 9:26. He dies once at the end of the ages. The Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. The same last hour in which Babylon falls, as it is brought to ruin in 1 hour. The month is the 30 days, which intersect the month of Scorpio and Sagittarius, in between which is Ophiuchus the serpent holder, the 13th sign. Scorpio refers to Judas. Sagittarius is the only zodiac that is half human, half beast, and refers to the 2 Peters. Paul of Tarsus in Acts 9:18, scales fell from his eyes, and Job 41:15, Leviathan's scales are his pride. While Paul is male, his letters are delivered by Phoebe of Chechnya, who is the only woman to be given the same title as Christ. She is the lightning and another form of the female Lucifer. These are the 3 shepherds cut off in 1 month. Silver is the alchemical metal of the moon, thus 30 days. The year may be 2018, as we have Israel in 1948 plus the prophetic 70 weeks, which are years, and that adds up to 2018. I have until then to finish the transgression, so that we may bring in everlasting righteousness. As things continue to get worse, I don't see that happening unless there is a supernatural rapture event. Christ said, "See to it your flight," as in getting into a plane, "is not in winter or on the Sabbath, for then shall be tribulation not seen since the beginning of the world, nor will ever be seen again." That is some promise if we think we have millions of years before our sun burns out, but it makes perfect sense if there is going to be some kind of time travel involved, wherein we return to the beginning or foundation for the world. For their names were written from the foundation. But I cast not reconcile it with Tusdras. This world is created for many, but the world to come for few. And where Jesus says those who inherit that age and the resurrection from the dead cannot marry, neither can they die any more. Also, why is there tribulation at the foundation or beginning of the world? Is not this the time when humanity first evolves on the world? We can always ask what came before or what comes after, but as in nature, planets, stars, etc., are circles, why not time also? Maybe the Bible was changed. Surely it is those who worship the beast, who was, is not, and yet is, along with the dragon, who return to the beginning of the world, the Timalup, which is the lake of fire, while the immortals inherit the age to come where religion is done away with. That is how I see it. I have gotten a bit off track. Right now I am homeless with a desktop computer, and I cannot even enter the library because my dog and mobility scooter are always with me. Thus my ability to make videos is impacted at this time. Nevertheless, I will find a way to do the work I came here to do in this life. Whether it causes the destruction of the world or the rapture, I no longer care. It is mine to do and mine to reveal these things to you. If I don't do it, then I become the servant who hides his talent in the earth. I am the one who decoded the hexagram into 33, the master planner and master builder. 11 and 22. The 2 triangles. I am also the first to discover the YHWHGZEZ Yahweh Jesus picnic in the English language, along with a number of other esoteric secrets. I do not practice any form of witchcraft, but I have a knack for making sense of the occult. I have many projects to do revealing the esoteric mysteries in the entertainment. Throughout many different video games and shows there is a pattern where everything converges at the apex of the pyramid, and when you begin to see the same story everywhere, the truth of it becomes more pronounced. I have no interest in being an antichrist, or sitting in the temple of God, though I do not regard the one favored by women, which is Tammuz. On the other hand, if I do some kind of power as Messiah, it would be a shame if I don't use it. I have suffered tragedy after tragedy, heartbreak after heartbreak. My own father called me a double agent. The demons know who I am and are taking every step to stop me, but all things will be revealed, and there is nothing secret that will not come to light. It is not the fault of Lucifer Jesus that his rebellion to free the people came to naught. The Christians do not follow Jesus in the way he lived, and rebelled against the priests, nor do they fight for their rights, but have allowed the rich to rise in power, and in this digital age of robot armies and banks, it is too late to build the Church of Robin Hood. The days are long gone when we had the chance to loot all the rich.